Hello and welcome to our Meet the Expert series of videos. I'm glad you can join us. We feature this part of our video offering to talk to experts within the field of lymphedema, because they're there to help us to live our life better with lymphedema. And I'm absolutely thrilled to have met our next guest about a year ago, and we've had several Zoom calls since then. And I have to say, since our very first meeting, it was very, very clear how much energy, passion, enthusiasm this person has to help others with lymphedema. So I'm privileged to have you on the show. Let me formally introduce you to Barbara, or as we know as Babz Jackson from Boston, USA, who is an occupational therapist, lymphedema therapist, and yoga teacher. She runs a series of lymphatic yoga wellness programs on Zoom for people living with lymphedema and also those who are at risk of getting it. So welcome, Babz. It's an absolute pleasure to talk with you.
Thank you, Matt. I'm excited to do this. And as you know, I love everything you do and everything you put out. So this was, yeah, a great opportunity to kind of express what you and I have been talking about all along. So
It's a great opportunity. I can't wait. So let's kick off, shall we? Let's find out more about what you do. So we first met, as I said, online, and I'm so pleased to be working together. Tell us a bit more about your inspiration. What made you train to become a lymphedema therapist and yoga teacher?
yeah, so maybe I'll start when I was younger. So I feel like ever since I was younger, I was always I was the youngest cousin, the youngest one in the family, and we grew up in Rhode Island. So around that area was all of my family, and I was always just the one taking care of everyone. And just that was just my role in life. And so when I was in middle school, my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer. So that was very difficult, and my family stayed together, and she was strong, and she's doing amazing now. But it was kind of a shift in my life where I was like, okay, I really do love helping people and really want to take this to the next level. So in high school, I started thinking about what profession I wanted to do or pursue. So then I went to college to become an occupational therapist. So that's kind of how I evolved to be an OT. And then when I was in college, my mom ended up getting lymphedema of her left upper extremity. And I was away at college. I went to Quinnipiac University. So I would come home, I would try to help her, but she wasn't really getting better. So then I ended up taking the CLOS lymphedema certification to become a certified lymphedema therapist to help my mom. So
Right.
I really wanted to just I saw her just struggling, and she was in a lot of discomfort, a lot of heaviness. She was upset that her rings wouldn't fit, her clothing wouldn't fit. She was anxious to go out in public because of the questions, and I just saw the whole mental, physical, social impact that the lymphedema had on her, and I just really it upset me. So when something upsets me, I try to figure it out and fix it. So I came home after college and I took the training. And so then I spent time with my mom. I lived at home for 2 years and we just went crazy. We tried every garment there was. I talked to every supplier in New England. I talked to everybody I could to figure out how to help my mom. And I bandaged her, I massaged her daily. I we got her to a really well managed state. And then it was time for me to spread my wings, move on. And so I moved to Boston, and my mom was doing fine managing, but I really wanted to help her to be able to continue to manage. So then the pandemic hit. And at that time, I was working on a COVID unit, so I couldn't really see my friends or family or go back to see my mom. So I started living with lymphedema yoga wellness program virtually.
Right.
That's kind of where it all came from. Because really my mom and I joke now that we wanted a way to still see each other, and she wasn't a yoga person. She never liked yoga, but this was a way that she could see me. And you'll probably hear from different videos, but she's like, I want to see my Babs. So she started yoga because really she wanted to see me, but then it turned into really something amazing for her. So
That's really interesting. It's you're not the first person, I dare say you'll be the last I speak with, that says literally lockdown opened new opportunities. Yes, it
Yeah.
was a horrendous time, wasn't it? And we all went a little bit stir crazy
Yeah.
in our
Yeah.
own secluded homes. But of course, your story, you were in the front line, I guess, looking after people with COVID. So, you know, thank you for everything you did on behalf, I'm sure, of many people that have had COVID and needed healthcare over the years. But so you're practicing face to face on a one-to-one basis in Boston, I'm guessing at the moment. But we have members, as I'm sure you know, all over the UK, and this is where the virtual element comes into play. So tell us, if you would, about the services that you can provide virtually for our members.
Of course, yeah. So when the pandemic did hit, it really shifted a lot of my in-person, in-clinic therapy and wellness programs to just virtual. So really, Balance with Babz, my yoga wellness business, is all virtual right now. And then I work full-time in clinic as a lymphedema therapist,
Right.
as a paid job, I guess. But they're kind of now becoming equal, luckily. But so yeah, so I run yoga wellness programs. They're 6-week programs for people with lymphedema or who are at risk. And even if they're not really sure if they are at risk or if they're feeling some swelling, I just welcome them in, because I think the more you learn, the more you know about your body, the more you're able to heal yourself. So yeah, I do yoga wellness programs with group settings. And then I also have one-on-one therapy where I meet, kind of like how we are now on Zoom, where we just have tailored individual therapy and healing for your specific needs. So yeah, programs or one-on-one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the best of both worlds, I think, because I don't know if I've told you this actually, but many years ago, I went to a yoga class with my business partner at the time because I was suffering with a bit of a bad back. My gait was out because of the lymphedema. I was lopsided, and it was suggested to me, well, why don't you try yoga? So we potted down to this local class, and I sat there on my yoga mat, and I felt really out of place. I mean, I'm nearly 6'4". You know, there's all these people in their sportswear or their lycra, and I was sitting there, you know, um, a bit self-conscious, I have to say. Anyway, got into the first move and literally my whole body went into spasm and I fell over on my side.
Yeah.
Now, virtual, there's
Mhm.
no embarrassment. You can be doing this in the comfort of your own home,
Yeah.
you know, and if you do make a mistake or you don't do it as correctly as you should, who cares? It doesn't matter. So virtual, I think there's definitely mileage in me doing that, perhaps with my camera turned off so you don't laugh at me falling over if I can't get into the poses. But what are the benefits of practicing lymphatic yoga for
Yeah.
somebody with lymphedema, somebody like me?
Yeah, and I hear that all the time, and I think my family was just like you. Like as soon as I became a yoga teacher in college, so this is about 10 years ago or so I've been teaching, and my grandfather, I took care of him, and he's 94 years old. And I was like, Grandpa, let's just try it. And he was like, Babsy girl, I can't do any of that. Like I see you on TV, like the yoga people with their pretzels and doing all these pretzel things. And I'm like, no, Grandpa, like that, it's not it. Like so it took me years to convince him. It took me years to convince my mom and dad that yoga isn't what you see on TV or what you hear about, or yoga is just the connection of your mind and body. And us sitting here right now, breathing together, like we're practicing yoga, we're practicing mindfulness, being present with one another, being present with our body, feeling how we feel. And so I think it's so for you too, I would encourage you just to even try, yeah, like a video, one of my videos on YouTube, or just like a 10-minute video of just simple seated breathing and movement, because you'd be surprised. But I do understand, because my mom, she very much had the same opinion as you, as like, I'm going to be embarrassed, I'm going to fall over. And so my mom was like, well, it's Zoom. If I fall over, Babs doesn't care. No one in the class cares. And neither does she now. And I encourage I don't encourage falling, but I encourage the challenging of your body and moving in different ways. But anyways, so just all of that just was meant to say that yoga is for everybody, and I want it to be for everybody. So lymphatic yoga is something that I've created. It's basically combining my yoga trainings with my lymphedema trainings, and we work on kind of 4 different principles. So we work on breathing, so all the different ways that the lymph fluid moves through our body. So breathing, diaphragmatic movement to really move the large area of lymph nodes in the abdomen to pump everything up. So breathing. I teach manual lymph drainage to open up the large areas, to cleanse and clear the body before we do movement. And then we also work on different poses and different ways that we can allow gravity to assist the lymph movement. So as we lift our arms and legs up, then that lymph fluid has a better pathway and easier way to come back towards the heart and to be cleared out. And then the 4th component is mindfulness. So I always say, in order to heal, we must feel. So really being connected with your limb that has lymphedema, and talking to it, as weird as that sounds, and loving it and appreciating it and learning to live with it and manage it through these practices. So that's the 4: is the breathing, the manual lymph drainage, the muscle contraction and the use of gravity, and then the mindfulness. So those are the 4 components that I find lymph fluid is able to move, and those are what lymphatic yoga is all about.
Yeah, it's when you dress it up in the 4 elements, it makes perfect sense. I went at it probably for the wrong reason, just to sort of get moving and become a bit more supple, not subtle. I could never be supple. But yeah, we'll come on to another experience shortly. But so you talk about your grandpa, and I'm not a naturally bendy person, as I've experienced, and some people with lymphedema have mobility issues. And we've spoken, and we did a webinar last year for chair lymphatic yoga. Tell us about that for people that perhaps aren't as active or as mobile as you are, for example.
Yeah. And I didn't start off this way too. It took years of practicing, but so I split my group by living with lymphedema yoga wellness group for floor yoga and chair yoga. So people with upper extremity, lower extremity, breast, abdominal, head and neck can go in either group. It just depends on their ability to get on and off the floor, really. So the chair yoga is, as it sounds, we do yoga in a chair, and we really focus on adapting the position so that you're able to get the muscle lengthening, the muscle contraction, the poses without putting your body in a harmful position or an area of discomfort. So we really focus on core strength, proximal strength, and then distal mobility. So range of motion through all of the joints, but while being supported. And also I have many videos too that people can do laying in their bed. So it's, yeah, again, with that theme of that yoga really can be for anybody and should be accessible to everybody. So that's why I started the chair component too, to make it more open for people to join.
Yeah, and that sort of answers a sort of question that I had in my mind, is how much space do I need around me for this? And if it's chair yoga, I'm guessing as long as your limb stretches from where you're sitting.
Well, I don't know, being 6'4", I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. My wingspan.
I need a little bit more space.
Yeah. And or bed, as you say. But if I wanted to do floor yoga, is that something that I could do in the comfort of my lounge, my living room? Yeah,
I live in the tiniest, me and my fiance Danny, we live in the tiniest apartment here. This is what you're seeing is pretty much like 1/4 of the apartment, and I have my yoga mat here. So so you can live in the tiniest space or the biggest house, and if you just make that, just roll out a mat or a towel, and you can do it.
Fantastic. Well, I'm committed to do some sessions with you in the new year for sure. Now we're recording this around December time 2022, ready for a launch of something I'll disclose in a second in January. Cost of living in the UK is at its highest for 40 odd years. It's climbing. Presumably that's the same in the US as well, and other parts of the world. Some people have had to really tighten their belts, and we don't know how long this is going to go on for. Now, I know the answer to this, but you're better positioned to tell me. you have a variety of packages available, don't you, with different price points for those people that can either afford it or can perhaps benefit from a lower cost
Yeah,
session.
absolutely.
Would you mind covering the elements that you provide for all purses, all cost points?
I would love to. I would love to, because this is something that I feel really strongly about, as I know you do too, because you provide so many free, amazing resources to people and such a community. But yeah, so when I started this, I I so as a therapist, my business hat is not the first hat I put on. I didn't even know I had that hat in my closet. But so I started as a therapist, and my goal is really just to help people, to encourage them to be independent, to help them to manage and learn how to live with lymphedema, how to care for themselves, really. So when I started the program, I see through my mom, I see through my patients how much of a financial burden lymphedema can have, between garments, therapy appointments, driving to different places, getting compression pumps, getting hospitalizations, all of that. It's a lot. And it's not something that any of you wanted to have. It's not something that you were like, yes, please give me lymphedema. That would help my life. Like, it's
Yeah.
not something all of you, it's something that you have to deal with and live with. And it's a chronic condition that you can manage and live successfully with, but it does come a lot of times as a financial burden. So I created a scholarship program. And so basically, if anyone wants to join my groups, I talk to them and I say, okay, what can you afford? And if you can't, still come. I never have once turned away anyone. And I don't think I ever will, because I think there's ways that people can use these to really commit to themselves. And so yeah, so I have a scholarship program, and on Monday nights I teach a lymphatic drop-in class, so all the donations to that class go to the scholarship program. So, and then I have just other different opportunities for the scholarship program, and so that's all on my website, Balance with Babz. But yeah, if anyone wants to join my groups, they can fill out a scholarship application and get the help they deserve.
Wonderful. And well, that's encouraging. And it doesn't surprise me that you wouldn't turn anybody away, I have to say. But there's also YouTube videos that you pointed me in the direction of in the
Yeah.
past. And of course, they're free of charge, aren't they? So they're
Yeah.
available if people want to do top-up classes,
Yes.
or should we say a try before you buy, a kind of sample as to what a
Sure.
class would
Yeah.
be like.
Yeah. An anonymous try. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. There's about, I think, 340 videos on the
My
channel.
word.
Yeah, I was looking at it the other day and I was like, oh, I probably have like 100 free videos. And I was like, whoa. But yeah, so, and I started that during the pandemic. So there's classes or practices to help you do lymph drainage on yourself. So it's not all yoga. A lot of it's more education. What is lymphedema? What is the lymphatic system? How can you help? So that's all on my YouTube channel, Balance with Babz. But yeah, so those are all free, and there's a lot of good resources there.
So you touched on earlier the sort of well-being and the health, excuse me, and you talked about supporting the lymphedema community through teaching mind and body techniques to improve lymphatic health and well-being. Can you tell us about the sort of mind and body element and how that all knits together? And I know I'm moving my mind and body. You can see my hands going all over the place there. That might be distracting. But how does it all sit together or fit together?
Yeah, so as many of you who are going to be watching this, as Matt, you know, and I know through my mom, lymphedema causes a lot of stress and tension in the body, and worry and fear and anxiety, and so if we can kind of target that area of the mind to allow yourself to think more in a positive light, decrease kind of the stress hormone in the body, and allow yourself to regulate your energy better, balance your energy, then you allow for healing to occur. So when we're in this stress state of, oh no, I'm going to go on a flight and my leg's going to get swollen and big, and oh no, I just got a cut, am I going to get cellulitis? Oh no, am I like, is this garment going to fit? It's cost so much, am I going to have, like, there's a lot of stress and anxiety and worry, And a lot of that is what I teach through my social media handles or channels or whatever we want to call them, is just ways to regulate your mind and body in the moment, because I think we can totally go down a negative path, or we can take the positive one. And I think if we keep going the positive route and know that there's support out there, there's resources out there, there's people like me and you, Matt, who will help these people deal with this. And I think the more that everybody knows that, the more they feel, I mean, as humans, we want to feel supported and part of community and loved. And so I think I just show up on social media to try to say that and teach that and put that out there that, hey, I'm here. And you can be there for yourself too through these simple techniques.
That's interesting, because it is a bit of a roller coaster sometimes, and you do, one needs coping mechanisms, you know, and it could be, as you say, it could be the flight, it could be the fear of cellulitis through a cut or a bite. It could even be getting into a nice outfit to go to a wedding or you know, a party. And we've got New Year's Eve coming up, we've got the Christmas period coming up, you know, at the moment, and a lot of people fret about going to the Christmas do at work and what are they going to wear. And so there's a whole level of emotions that people go through. So your assistance can help with that, as well as the body, which is amazing. It's an all-round package that you provide, which is superb. Fantastic. Now with our plan, of which January 2023 marks the launch of our brand new Meet the Experts health, lifestyle and well-being section, which includes yourself. We're thrilled to have you on board. And the purpose of this section is to demonstrate and highlight everything that you've talked about, is to signpost people in your direction who may find it useful to practice the yoga or learn your mindfulness techniques. And this kicks off in January, as I said, 2023. You're going to do a lovely feature in the newsletter for us, for our members, as well as this video. Thank you. In addition to that, you've kindly provided our members with a special offer. Tell us a little about that.
Yeah, so those are you who are able to afford the program. So right now for the 6-week program, it's $100, and that's a little around $10 per week. And you get the one live class per week, and then about 30 homework videos per week, and then educational videos. So if you'd like to join, and if you join through Lymphedema United, you'll get 10% off. So.
Wow. Well, I mean, that's not a huge amount of money in the first place, is it? That's a great investment. And if you break it down, you know, what are we talking about? You know, a bottle of wine here or there, isn't it? It's decent
right.
wine. I mean, crikey. And how long are these sessions? Just so the.
Yeah. So we meet once a week on Zoom for an hour long, and I teach. The first 20 minutes is education. So I teach about lymphedema, compression garments, lymphatic drainage, mental and physical health, nutrition, trending topics, and lymphatic yoga. So we have education for 20 minutes and a discussion. So that's where the community really, and I love the people in the group. They're all, my mom still continues to take it, and I have people who have been taking it now for 2 years, and they keep coming back. But it's really a community where we say, oh yeah, I tried that compression garment and that worked for me, but this one worked better. Oh yeah, I had the same problem as you with that. And then they talk, and I'm just like, I just sit back and I'm like, yes, this is amazing. But and then so we have a discussion, and just out of pure love and help for one another. And then 40 minutes of that is the lymphatic yoga, where I teach the MLD. We do yoga, either floor or chair. And then throughout the week, I send about 3 to 4 videos per week for them to do continuously as homework. Nice. And then I also give them a lot of resources to educational videos, and then they have these videos in their toolbox for as long as they need them for.
Wow. So between you and I and everyone listening, do you have to sometimes tell them to stop talking so you can get on with the yoga?
Well, it's funny you asked that. Sometimes no, actually I haven't. So because they just, I accept it, I let it be. And sometimes I'm not the programs aren't for me. The programs are for the people there. So sometimes when we get into this really interesting topic about neuropathy or about certain things and compression grades and all this, then we keep going. Sometimes I look at the clock, I'm like, oh, 40 minutes. But then I give them so many yoga videos that they're not going to miss out on the yoga ever. There's going to be plenty of yoga videos for them. So yeah, it's funny you asked that.
But to highlight this, this obviously isn't all about the yoga. There's so much more to it, which is it's definitely worth exploring. And you know, I'd just like to say thank you for offering our members 10% discount, because it all helps. It all helps. And, you know, I know you haven't got your business hat on, and that's not what you're doing this. This is not what I'm doing it for. But if you can help people along the way, then, you know, you're more of a saint than I thought of already. So listen, guys and girls, if you're not a member of Lymphedema United, then visit the website lymphedemaunited.com and sign up. It's completely free. Not just the privilege of getting a discount from Babz here, but you get a discount code to use off all of the suppliers that are listed on the website, whether that's clothing companies, lymphedema products, and other health and well-being companies that will be joining us soon. So do sign up. In addition to that, quarterly newsletters, you know, bulletins, all sorts of benefits that you'll get from that, free prize draws. The list goes on. But this is all about Babz. This is all about the new health, lifestyle and well-being section of the Meet the Experts page of the website. And I'd just like to finally thank Babz for your time, your energy, your passion, your commitment, your love, for everything that you've done for the community and everything that you're going to do to help us. And you can I promise you, I'm going to be doing some of your yoga sessions, perhaps with the camera off, so you don't laugh. But once again, Babz, thank you so much. Check out her details on our website, or go to Babz, Balance with Babz directly with yours. But we'd like to jump through our website so you can get your code, your discount code to use. Is there anything else you'd like to say, Babz, before I say the final thank yous?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to you, Matt, for putting this together and for just compiling all of these resources for this community. And I just want everyone who is watching this and listening to us know that you are supported, and reach out to us when you need help, and we'll be there.
Yeah, absolutely. And we are a community that we all need to support each other. You're absolutely right. Babz, I know this is a recording. You are an absolute diamond of a person, you know, a lovely human being, always smiling, always positive, an absolute pleasure to work with. And I'm honored that you're coming on board with our website. So thank you so much for everything you're doing. And thank you all for joining us, and tune in next time where we'll be inviting another expert to tell us all about their services that they can provide to help us to live better with lymphedema. Thank you.
Thank you.